I want you to consider what happens when the institutions we trust to protect football become the very mechanisms that corrupt it. In Europe's grand stadiums, where millions gather to witness sporting excellence, a parallel economy has been operating in the shadows. One built on wagers, secret payments, and creative accounting that would make a forensic accountant weep. This isn't a story about a single bad actor or one corrupt official. What I'm about to show you is a systemic crisis that spans from Istanbul to Barcelona to Manchester, involving over 1,000 suspended players, billions in illicit betting, and investigations that threaten to reshape European football. The question isn't whether these scandals happened. The evidence is overwhelming, but rather what they reveal about the structures that govern the beautiful game. Let's start with the numbers, because they're staggering. Turkish authorities have uncovered a betting and money laundering operation worth $50 billion. Not million, billion. The Turkish Football Federation suspended 30 match observers after evidence showed they'd placed bets on the very matches they were meant to oversee. Over 1,000 players have been suspended, including 27 from the Super League. Among those arrested was Eyüpspor chairman Murat Özkaya, a prominent figure in Turkish football. At the centre of this web sits Veysel Şahin, a notorious betting baron who allegedly manoeuvred billions through shadow accounts. What we're seeing here isn't opportunistic gambling by a few rogue individuals. This is an organised infrastructure built over years, designed to exploit the predictability of match outcomes when those outcomes can be influenced. The scale suggests coordination, planning, and a network of participants who understood they were operating outside the rules, but believed the system was too complex, too opaque for authorities to unravel. They were wrong. The investigation revealed something that strikes at the heart of sporting integrity. 371 of 571 active referees in Turkey had betting accounts. 152 of those were actively gambling. One referee had placed 18,227 bets. Let that number settle for a moment. Referees are meant to be the impartial arbiters of the game, the guardians of fair play. When they participate in the very betting markets that their decisions can influence, the entire premise of competitive integrity collapses. While Turkey grapples with betting corruption, Spain faces a different but equally corrosive scandal. Barcelona, one of football's most storied clubs, is under UEFA investigation for alleged payments to José María Enríquez Negreira. The comparisons to Italy's Calciopoli scandal are inevitable. That crisis saw Juventus relegated and stripped of titles. But there's a crucial difference here. The time limit to punish sporting violations has passed under Spanish law. This is where UEFA's role becomes critical. The European governing body may have to act directly, potentially banning Barcelona from the Champions League, similar to recent UEFA actions against clubs for match fixing. Juventus, ironically the club most damaged by Calciopoli, now finds itself under UEFA investigation for financial fair play violations. On September 18th, UEFA informed the club about potential breaches between 2022 and 2025. What's significant here is the pattern. The previous scandal involved providing false accounting information, inflating values for artificial capital gains. These weren't accounting errors. They were systematic attempts to circumvent financial regulations. Manchester City's case represents perhaps the most significant test of financial regulation in football history. The club was first accused of 115 rule breaches in February 2023. A private hearing took place across 10 weeks between September and December 2024, examining charges that potentially number closer to 130. These alleged violations occurred between 2009 and 2018, involving multiple areas of club operations. UEFA's crackdown extends far beyond individual clubs. In 2025, the governing body intensified financial fair play enforcement. HNK Hajduk Split, Aston Villa, Chelsea, Barcelona, Olympique Lyonnais and Porto all failed to comply with the football earnings rule. When we step back and examine these scandals collectively, patterns emerge. From Istanbul to Barcelona to Manchester, we see common incentives. The mechanisms vary, but the underlying logic is similar. The rules are obstacles to be navigated rather than principles to be honoured. The scale and sophistication of these scandals have forced governing bodies to evolve their monitoring capabilities. Algorithms now track unusual betting patterns, flagging matches where the volume suggests potential manipulation. Perhaps most fundamentally, there needs to be a cultural shift within football, a recognition that financial sustainability and competitive integrity aren't obstacles to success, but foundations for it. The scandals we've examined reveal a sport grappling with its own values. Is football primarily an entertainment business where financial engineering is accepted? Or is it a sport where fair play and integrity are non-negotiable? Fans invest emotionally in clubs and competitions, believing that outcomes are determined by skill, strategy and effort. Trust is the ultimate trophy, and once lost, it's extraordinarily difficult to rebuild. I've shown you the scale of corruption, the mechanisms of manipulation and the challenges of enforcement. What remains is a question for everyone who loves this sport. What should fair play mean in modern football?